Welcome once again here on the Regional Radio Sports Network. Glad you can join us. My name is Paul Condry. I'm the president and founder of Regional Radio Sports. Welcome to the Tony Natali Show. This is edition number 6. Great to have the Bethel University Athletic Director to my immediate left. Bethel University women's volleyball coach Erica Dregits is going to be joining us here in the program. We're going to get her back on the program. Glad to have her here today. But Tony, it's a busy time of the season. You're in this period now where we're hitting the Crossroads League, back end of the Crossroads League schedules for men and women's basketball. And by the way, kudos goes out to Drew Lutz on being named the Crossroads League Player of the Week, also the NCCAA National Player of the Week. So excited for him and what he's been able to do. But also, you're also making the transition. Men's volleyball is getting underway, and then of course we've got swimming coming up with the KCAC tournament that's going to be out at the beautiful Elkhart Swimming Complex. So you've got a lot on your plate right now.
Yeah, it's been a good break. You know, it's a chance to get away a little bit, spend some time, family at home, and it was a really good time. So that was good. But here we go. We're off and running now, and there's a lot going on. We have several student athletes back on campus already, and the rest of them will all be back here probably tomorrow. Classes start on Thursday, so we're ready to go. Basketball teams are going, and everybody else follows, so we're ready.
Yes, indeed, man. We're blessed that you've stopped by here today on Regional Radio Sports, and we're blessed to have Erica with us. Back in the old days, and I can say that now at age 67, I remember Erica when she was a college athlete. She had a tremendously successful career here, and just to kind of look at some of the numbers that she was able to achieve during her time here. Two-time NCCAA first-team All-American, two-time NCCAA Scholar Athlete, 2007 NCCAA National Tournament MVP, and, of course, two-time Crossroads League in the top 10 in 7 different categories. The only other athlete that I know that may dominate the record books as much as Erica may be Justin Masterson, who she also went to college with. He was here in that same time frame when Justin was here as a dominating member of the men's baseball team. So, and you guys are all good friends, and we'll talk about that. But Tony, I know you're excited about Erica jumping on board to be the new Pilots women's volleyball coach.
Yeah, really excited about the direction we're heading. It's amazing, the plans that God has for programs, way better than what we do as humans.
Got that right.
It's incredible, but yeah, it's been a story to get to this point. But I tell you what, we're really excited about having Erica here coaching our young ladies, and not only are they going to be phenomenal in the competitiveness category, but the whole spiritual development, the relational aspect is going to go to a whole different level. So, can't tell you how blessed we are and excited we are to have Erica coaching our team.
All right, Erica. Well, first of all, let's talk about the time at Bethel. I know you put a smile on your face when I mentioned Justin Masterson. I know that you're good friends with the family there, and obviously when you grow to, and I found that group in the early part of the twos and through the mid twos. I was involved in so many different lives of kids, and it was a blessing to be able to engage time with those kids. I call them kids at the time. Now they're adults and got kids of their own. But it was such a special time here on this campus. I know that I look back on all the fond memories that I have and great relationships that are still strong to this day. Can you speak to what it was like back then and how special it was for you?
I just had a great experience at Bethel. And, you remember the wins and losses and some of the big games, but what you really remember is the people you were at school with and your teammates and just the way that they grow you as people. And so, it's actually funny. I was in Justin Masterson's wedding. Good friends with his wife, Meryl. So, I'm just really excited to be back and to continue the awesome tradition of Bethel athletics.
When you look back on your time as a student athlete, and you have such a great reverence for what the athlete goes to as being a former athlete, the demands academically, the demands spiritually, and quite frankly, I know that's part of your job is to challenge these student athletes spiritually and try to get them to grow and kind of get out of their comfort zone, because there's no place better for you to grow spiritually is when you're out of your comfort zone, and nothing is better to do that than education-based athletics and where we're at right now. So can you speak to how you can take your experiences that you had as a student athlete and how you can help them today?
Yes, I was fortunate. I had a really great mentor. Julia Reininga was my coach, and just really poured into us. And so I had great examples of what that looked like. And so I want to continue pouring into my athletes, because I don't want them to be the same that they are when they leave Bethel. I want them to be changed. And I'm going to demand a lot out of them in the classroom and hold them accountable spiritually, and want to hold them to a higher level on the court as well, demanding excellence that we can see on the court. And to do that, it's really important to have those relationships, because if you desire and respect someone, then you're going to want to play harder. You're going to want to work harder. And so I think relationships is key to success on and off the court.
Tony, I know that we've seen really kind of the maturation of the men's basketball program really get to an all-time level right now. And I know that what Steve Draben's done, and I know you've poured a lot of energy and love and prayer and time into his development as a first-year head coach in this position that he's in right now. And Steve will tell you, and then matter of fact, the halftime interview that I did with Drew Lutz on Saturday, if you want to really kind of get to the development of him as an athlete and as a follower of Christ, just listen to that interview that he gives Steve the credit for kind of mentoring him in his faith and those kind of situations. So my question is for you, Tony, when you get into that situation as the spiritual leader of your athletic program, you've got to be able to trust that your coaches have the same type of heart that you have for your student athletes. Can you speak to some things that you shared with Erica, if you don't mind, what it was like when you said, hey, listen, we're going to offer you this job, but here's what I want you to do?
Yeah, I just think with all of our coaches, and Erica is a great example of that. You know, we have high expectations in everything we do. We don't really departmentalize on being excellent in one area and not the other area. You know, so we know that there's basically four areas that we really want to be excellent in, and we are called to be excellent in. And the competitiveness is definitely one of them. But the spiritual development, having full roster sizes, having a great culture, those are also very, very important to me. So when you see coaches that do those things and you give them the space to do that, and I'm a big believer, I try to coach these guys just like I would my athletes when I coach basketball and track here, and I don't want to micromanage. I told Erica the first day, I said, I'm not going to micromanage you. That's not what I'm going to do. I will give you direction. I will give you what you kind of need to know to start with, and then we're going to take one day at a time. You have questions, you come find me and we'll figure it out. But that, I feel like that's the best way to do it, because it allows Erica to use the God-given gifts she has, and nobody knows that better than Erica. So it just allows her that opportunity to really emphasize those gifts, just like Steve did. So my role in that is just to facilitate, be a facilitator, and make sure they understand everything that's important to me and my vision in the department.
You know, when you have young coaches, and Steve is an example, Erica is an example, but you also have some cagey veterans, if you will. You look at Zartman, who you've had a chance to work in side by side with for well over 2 decades, even though you haven't worked with Coach Scott Paulsgrove, but you know fundamentally where he's at in his faith walk, and so those kind of situations. How do you sit down and kind of just go through those things? Do you have a different mindset in your direction with maybe a veteran coach versus a young coach?
Well, I feel like we all can get better. I mean, it doesn't matter how many years we've been doing this. This will be Erica's first year in this role, you know, and I've been doing this forever, but I can still improve, and I've got to have that mindset. So when I meet with Seth or Chris Hess or whoever it might be who's been around for a while, they're kind of in the same boat that Erica and Steve are, because we all need to get better in what we do. We can never just sit back and say, well, this is the way we've always done it, because if we do that, we're going to get left behind. So it's really important, in my opinion, and we talk about this a lot, that we continue to use the strengths that God's given us, but be stretched and really try to improve on what we're doing, know what our weaknesses are, and continue to get better at those.
Eric, I want you to walk me through the process of going through, of applying for the job, sitting down with the interview, the after interview, sitting down, and of course your husband is assistant coach or was a head coach here at one time with women's soccer. So kind of walk us through how that went for you.
I think just relying on God and His direction for my life. At first, when it came about, my answer to God was no, this is not something that I want to pursue. But just through work in my life and changing my reliance on God instead of my own abilities, and I think it just changed my heart. And then met with Tony and heard more about the job and just the support that Tony gave me and the encouragement. I think I had such a positive experience here at Bethel. It was an easy yes after God had changed my heart.
Did you reach out to Julie and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm going to be doing? Did you have any conversations with her? Because I know last time I checked on her, she's still coaching.
She actually is the athletic director now. But she reached out to me and just congratulated me. We were going to get together over Christmas break, but schedules didn't work out. But reached out to her. So
who's been the most influential people in your life?
I would definitely say Julia, just the way she coached. But I also had an opportunity to work with Lisa Pollock at Penn High School, and just a great coach and builds great culture. And so definitely rely on her for some volleyball aspects. And then I do a Bible study with Debbie Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
Notre Dame coach?
Yes, former Notre Dame coach. And so she has also talked with me and going to help mentor me through this first year as well.
Have you figured out who you're going to have on the staff? Have you gotten past that? And have you had a chance to sit down with your gals yet?
Right after I was hired, they left for Christmas break. So I got an opportunity to meet with 4 of the girls one day and then met with the whole team another day and was able to meet them, get to know them a little bit. I've been in communication with them over Christmas break and just really trying to get to know them as much as I can over distance. But I am just looking forward to getting to know them better and to really delving into who they are as people.
One of the questions I always ask football coaches during our football kickoff shows every year, especially when a guy's taking a new job, is do you go back and watch game film? Do you look at stats? Do you look and say, well, so-and-so's playing this position? And you may watch them and say, well, why are they playing that position? They should probably be playing this position. And I know there's a lot of armchair quarterbacking that can be done anytime there's a transitional situation. But going into this as the head coach for the first time, do you look at someone's past performance, or does everybody have a clean slate? We're going to come in here at preseason, and everybody's going to be in the exact same position. I don't care if you're an All-American or if you're a freshman coming in. What's your mindset on that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you definitely have heard names before. You've been to past games. You know who's going to perform well. But from my perspective, we come in this spring season, we come in the fall, and you have to prove that you want to be on that court and you're going to beat out the other players for your position. So hard work is going to beat out past experiences.
There you go. Tony, I know that from a technical standpoint, you're going to stay far away from the gym as possible when it comes to volleyball. Correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And you've disciplined yourself pretty good for basketball, so I've been told. Now, that's just a rumor.
Trying.
But the reality of it is when you're hiring a coach that's not the sport that you've ever coached or ever played, maybe outside of gym class or something to that, facsimile thereof. What was your mindset in sitting down and saying, okay, I want to make sure I get the best qualified person, but I also want to have these 3 or 4 things to go in it. So as a person who's never played volleyball, because we're not talking about volleyball with the kids or the grandkids or any of that kind of stuff. What was your mindset going into this, man?
Well, I've been really blessed because whenever we've had these situations come up, this is just one of the things I do. I'm not saying it's right, but this one of the things I do. I have kind of a Rolodex in my head of people in every position, just of, if something would happen, somebody would leave, whatever would happen, who the next one up is, and it really helped with softball with Natali Newell.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
When that opened up and that happened, she was the first call I made, and then I really wanted her because of what I knew of her. And it's funny how this worked out, because Erica was the first person I thought of, and it was a crazy time, because it was, as she said, right in that break time. And at first I told the team we'll have a coach named by January when we come back. And the more I prayed about that, thought about it, I thought, boy, I don't feel good about that, because I don't want these kids to go home not knowing who their coach is and meeting their coach. So praying about it and trying to figure things out while I drive over here one day for a soccer game. And the first person I see in the parking lot is Erica. And I was like, okay, God, that's my answer. And I literally, no joke, got out of my car. I called her over. She can tell you this. She was talking to some of the soccer players. And I said, can I talk to you for a minute? And she came over, and she said, yeah, what's up? And I said, how'd you like to be the volleyball coach at Bethel? And that was the conversation that kind of sprung it from there. And knowing her in every way, not just as an athlete and as the person she is, but the things that she can bring to the table that were badly needed, which is the relational aspect and the spiritual development. Knowing how good she can be at those, that was just a confirmation to me. And I am a huge believer. God's in control of everything we do. And,
yes, indeed.
And he, you got to trust Him. So when I ran into Erica that day, that was very much confirmation. Pretty much right in front of my face. That's just who you need to get. So yeah.
Can you verify that story, Erica?
That was how it happened.
Okay. So did you tell him yes or no at that time, or did you just says, let me think about it, let me pray about it? Where were you at right then? Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, because we had a conversation previously when Katie was going to step down. And that's the time when I told God, absolutely not. Yeah. So it was, I think, like I said, just God changing my heart. And so when He asked me in the parking lot, the answer wasn't no right away. It was, we're going to pray about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think that wait a while is the hardest part.
Definitely.
It really, really is. Now, you've seen some programs turn around here. We'll use, obviously we've seen what Thiago's done, has won a national championship. But, Jason Freeman, the women's soccer coach, I know that he's done a fabulous job, not only on the field, but off the field. Tony told me the day that he hired, or shortly thereafter, he hired, he said this guy it's gonna maybe take some time to change it on the field as far as wins and losses, but he's got a spiritual heart for the student athlete, and he's done both of those things. He's changed it, and I know that Steve's been a part of the program, and he has helped it. So does it help coming back knowing that Steve's maybe here to help, and I know he's got all that soccer stuff going on that he's doing. Are you guys going to be able to work in the same building at the same time?
We're kind of still figuring that out. We have 2 kids, so while we're coaching, someone has to watch them. So I think when I took the job initially, we had thought about him not coaching, but after they won the national championship, he said, might be kind of fun to come back.
Yeah, exactly. So what have you learned about coaching from your husband's been a head coach, been an outstanding assistant coach. He's involved in coaching and then with the soccer programs that he's involved in. Can you speak to what you've learned from him in regards to how you think this is going to help you?
Mm-hmm. I think he's definitely a sounding board for me, even in the past couple months of being hired, just asking questions, throwing out ideas, getting his perspective on things, and also hearing what does the soccer team do? What are some of those procedures and things like that? And he is just very wise, I feel like. And so he has a lot of experience and just great sounding board. When
you look at today's athlete compared to when you were an athlete, there's so many more distractions for today's athletes. There really is. It's like any other time in the history of our world. what are some things that concern you about athletes coming in or current athletes that are on campus that you're frightened for them as a parent? You're frightened as a woman of God. You're thinking to yourself, I didn't have these kind of issues that I had to deal with. So what are some hot button things that you really want to dive into to try to help your student athletes out?
Mm-hmm. I think just the pressures and that come from external things, and just the rise in anxiety in athletes
Sure.
and as students. I think I just want to impress upon them that trials and these things are temporary. And who can we look to? And that's Christ. He's already defeated things for us. But that's just really on my heart because we can't earn our salvation. It's like we can't earn a spot on the court. We simply have to be and accept salvation through Christ. And so just want to reiterate that to our athletes, that you can't earn salvation, and just let them know that there's hope.
One of the things that you have to have as a coach in the league that you're in is hope. Mm-hmm. Because you've got some teams in this league that are just amazing. You look at what Candace Motes has done at Indiana Wesleyan. They run the table, win the national championship. So it's not a league that there's a lot of forgiveness. Tony's lived this with men's basketball, because you're talking one of the elite league in the United States of America in the NEI, and you can now say that about the Crossroads League in women's volleyball. 1 through 5 are as good as any league in the country. So how do you get better in a league where there's not a lot of forgiveness? Have you given that one any thought, or you don't even want to think about that yet?
I think just by preparing for it. We're going to practice like we're going to play. And so designing practices to make ourselves better, and knowing that sometimes we might go up and we might lose, but we're going to take that and we're going to learn from it and we're going to come back stronger.
Tony, what kind of advice do you have for Coach Dregits in regards to just taking them one day at a time, keeping that mindset? Because I know when I was with you traveling on the bus, so many away games, so many road trips, I know that, that's something, even though I tried to read the scouting report, how difficult that may have been. Those were great journeys, because there were so many life lessons on those bus trips and so many neat things. So how do you advise her to, hey, you can't get too down, you can't get too high, you've got to somehow find that even keel?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I talk to all of our coaches about this, is staff meetings. I talk to them individually, but it's the process. I mean, you have to embrace the process, because if you're result oriented, it's never going to be good enough. And I wish somebody would have told me that when I was coaching, because I look back at the success, and I was so blessed in basketball and track to have a lot of success, and I can think of every time, especially at the end of years, that we did really well. My first thought was not to be thankful for that, but my first thought is, now what happens the next year? And I just blew it when it came to that, and just because I didn't really know any better. But I really try to emphasize with these guys that the process is where it's at. And if you take care of the process, if you take care of the culture every single day, the results will take care of themselves. Jay Wright, great comment, where he talks about culture being a daily thing and a daily importance in your program. You have to do that. You have to have that daily part with culture, because if you don't, you're going to suffer. So,
Erica, final thought here. I mean, obviously you've got a really good indicator. You've coached at Penn and the Jimtown systems, and you understand the dynamics of club volleyball, whether it be the Dunes or the local one here. I mean, I just know that for volleyball coaches at the college level, if you're not connected into all those programs, you're not going to have success. So how can you take some of the successes that you've had and the relationships that you've built in the club volleyball scene and parlay that into your recruiting? And what do you think how important is the club volleyball scene to recruit that with success?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Recruiting is a lot about relationships, and so we only have certain amount of brain capacity. We can only do a certain amount of things, but we can expand what we can do with relationships, building those relationships with clubs. And I think that's one of my strong suits, is that I am connected in the volleyball world. And so relying on those relationships, whether it's in Northwest Indiana, Empowered in Fort Wayne, NEVA here in Mishawaka, and just building those relationships so that they want to send kids our way and they want to communicate who's coming up and speak highly of our program.
Once again, Erica, taking a look at the numbers. Top 10 in career in total kills with 1,266. First in total blocks and set a career with 1.64. Second in total blocks and eighth in hitting percentage. So she is the new volleyball coach here at Bethel University, Tony. And I think you've got a winner.
Really excited about that. Very blessed. It's you do a lot of thinking over the break, and think about where God has you and how you've gotten to where you've gotten to. And the more I thought about everything here at Bethel and just the process has been over the last 5 years as an AD, I can't tell you how blessed I am to be working with great people every single day. And Erica just fits right into with our staff and does a great job in that area.
Once again, we thank you for joining us here on the Tony Natali Show. A very special thanks goes out to Luke Schrock, Sports Information Director, the legendary Tanner Camp, as well as Mia McComish, who did a wonderful job with our setup here today. We appreciate you stopping by. Don't forget to join us for Bethel University men's and women's basketball all season, including men's volleyball coming up here at the end of January. Once again, for Erica and for Tony, I'm Paul Condry. Thanks for all you've done. God bless you all.